today we're going to talk about you, or at least about Sagittarius, which is the ninth sign of the zodiac. It's a fire sign, actually. Fire mutable sign, as we say in astrology. That means that it is a changeable type of sign, or at least the manner in which Sagittarius people behave. Now let's have a look at the chart, at the zodiac, and see what we can, get out of it. Here it is. So Sagittarius is here, your sign, you see, or your ascendant. Capricorn is the second one. The first one is yours, of course, because we are talking about it. And the third one is Aquarius. The fourth one is Pisces. And the fifth one is Aries, which is the sign represented by Mars. So from early on in 2026, from the 26th of January, for example, and then from the 13th of February, Neptune and Saturn are going to transit in Aries. So they will be forming a very beneficial aspect with your sign or your ascendant, with Sagittarius anyway, because they're both fire signs. They're automatically quite compatible and complementary to one another. So that's nice, because Neptune represents the ability to kind of foresee and also imagine. It is your intuition, your inspiration. It represents your dream or the ideal situation that you would like to, realize for yourself. Now, the fifth sign is linked to the fifth house. It's, of course, symbolically, but the fifth house represents your love life, for example. It represents your creativity. It represents anything that is important to you sentimentally, more or less. And it also represents the joys of life, the good times that you can share with other people. So because the transit of Saturn and Neptune, which are slow planets, have already had an influence in Aries in 2025, but then they retrograded into Pisces, where they are at the moment today is the 6th of November. 2025. So Saturn and Neptune are still in Pisces, but when they were in Aries, they must have given you a glimpse of what you could achieve, actually. And now, if you're into creativity, if your life depends on your creativity, on your level of creativity, or if it depends on that part of feelings that we call love or affection and so on, then of course what happened in 2025 can serve you very well in 2026 if you go back to what it was before, because before it was both planets were transiting your fourth sign, the fourth sign from Sagittarius, which is the fourth link to the fourth house, representing your close surrounding, your family, your place of residence, and so on. So there may be still some aspects of this area of your life to reconsider, to make sure that once both planets, Saturn and Neptune, change sign, it will be for a very long time before they come back in Pisces. Well, for Neptune, it's going to take maybe 150 odd years before it comes back in Pisces. And for Saturn, it's going to take about 27 years before it comes back in Pisces. So you see, both transits are very, very important because they're rare, and the conjunction between Saturn and Neptune in Aries is unique. It's not going to happen again, during your lifetime. So it is a very important configuration that will definitely help you achieve something quite important that may have long-lasting repercussions. And that will most probably depend on your degree of creativity. That is creation and procreation as well, of course. And depending on your age, your situation, and so on, this period could also represent something very important as far as conceiving a child, for example. But what you are going to create during this period, which is going to last for about 2 years for Saturn, but it's going to last almost 14 years for Neptune. So it's very different. And the fact that Neptune remains like that so long in harmony with your sign or your ascendant, it's going to be a very strong source of inspiration in many ways. And while Saturn transits as well in Aries, which will last, as I said earlier on, for about 2 years, they will sort of collaborate together, those two planets. One represents your inspiration, the other one represents, well, the rational side of your personality and what you can achieve concretely based on that inspiration. So yeah, that's going to be a very important moment. And if you have to make a decision, or if you want to take advantage of a unique type of opportunity, it may be wise to focus on February 2026, because on the 20th there will be a conjunction between Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and that will be the only one that will occur actually before Saturn transiting faster than Neptune in the sign, takes some distance with it, and there will not be any more conjunction in the sign between those two planets. But what you decide on the 20th or around the 20th of February may have very, very, very long lasting repercussions, maybe for the rest of your life. So that's a very interesting and important transit, of course. Then there is also Uranus. Uranus is here. Sorry, I wanted to talk to you about Pluto first. But I can talk about both. Not yet, though. I will talk about both in a minute. Now, on the 20th of November 2024, Pluto entered and settled in Aquarius, where it had already been twice before that. But, retrogradation took it back into Capricorn a couple of times, and then on the 20th of November 2024, it actually settled in Aquarius. I wrote a book about this transit because it's going to last for 20 years, and in my opinion, it's going to transform completely, deeply, and forever society. As we know it today, it will be completely something else in and before that 20-year period of transit of Pluto in Aquarius. But it is in harmony with your sign or your ascendant. It's in harmony with Sagittarius. It's an air sign. Aquarius is an air sign. And Sagittarius being a fire sign, fire and air, as you know, cohabit very well. So fire needs air to burn. So Pluto is going to enhance your ability, your natural ability to regenerate. So you may fall ill, for sure. Anything can happen over a period of 20 years. But thanks to Pluto in harmony with your sign or your ascendant, it's going to help you recover. So you fall down, perhaps you get up again. You fail in some area of your life, you try again and you succeed. So that's going to be a real strong, positive help, which you may not even realize actually, or consciously, because the energy is going to be latent, and it's going to have that influence as a backdrop of your life and of your physiological and vital energy. And that's very important, of course, to be supported by a planet like that. It's been going on since the 20th of November 2024, I repeat. But the more it progresses into the sign, the more your own energy is going to be impregnated by that of Pluto. And that is the energy of regeneration, transformation, rebirth, perhaps. It's transiting the third sign from your sign, which is linked to the third house. And the third house represents communication, so it represents your mind, your brains, And so the way you perceive life is going to be transformed deeply, and most probably you are going to be a much deeper thinker as Pluto progresses in this sign, Aquarius. And from the 25th of April, another planet is going to support the energy of Pluto. It's Uranus. It's here. Well, at the moment, it is retrograding in Taurus. So, same as I said about Saturn and Neptune going back, retrograding in Pisces, because Uranus has already been in Gemini for a few months in 2025, it has given you that opportunity to consider how much a certain change may influence your life for a very long time. But it may have not happened as such yet. Before it does, you need to prepare yourself. And going back into the past, to reconsider or to make sure that what you've done, what happened, what you organized is exactly what it should be, because Uranus then in Taurus will be transiting again. That's sixth sign from Sagittarius, which is linked to the sixth house of work and health. And it's probably in those areas that you'll need to really assess the situation, make sure that everything is understood, and that you've taken the right decisions and the right position as well. Because when Uranus changes sign on the 25th of April 2026, when it does enter in Gemini, it's not going to return in Taurus. The transit is going to last for about 7 years, a bit less. But during the 7 years when it is in Gemini, it's going to form a very nice configuration, which we call a trine, with Pluto. You see, here it is. That's the one. It's what we call a trine. It's a 20-degree angle, and it's considered as being most probably the best configuration there is. So, change, Uranus represents that. Regeneration, Pluto represents that. But it's not all, because Uranus will also be forming what we call a sextile with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, which both will be in harmony with Pluto as well. See? So that triangle here is extremely favorable to the change and to the realization, which is a concrete realization of something that you may consider as the utmost realization of your life, perhaps. Who knows? Because this is a very rare configuration. And it's not going to only affect you and favor your life. A lot of people are going to be quite privileged by this configuration. The whole of society actually will benefit from this type of configuration. So whatever you want to change may have something to do with the seventh sign from your sign, from Sagittarius, is Gemini, and it's linked to the seventh house, and it represents personal relationships, partnerships, and all other important relationships that you may think of. There is a change coming. It is a positive change that may lead to a rebirth. That's what Pluto represents. And it will most probably also be derived from that ability that you may have to work on that dream that you may have to realize it concretely. And it's probably from the 25th of April onward that you will have the most positive energy to realize that. So it's a very promising year for you and for other people, of course. But think that when you benefit from these configurations, a lot of other people around you will also benefit from the same configuration, but differently, because they are different people and they have a different chart and they may have a different sign or a different ascendant naturally. But this configuration will definitely help the whole world actually in some way or other. So if you think of that, it means that when you address someone, or you get in touch with someone, or you partnership with someone, then this other person or other people, if there are more than one person, then will also be driven by these positive configurations. And that's why you should do your best, to take advantage of that. There is another planet that will also be very, very positive. Not yet, though. It's Jupiter. See, Jupiter is here. At the moment, it's in Cancer. And it's been in Cancer since the 9th of June 2025. And the transit will last, you see, until the 30th of June 2026. All right? Jupiter in Cancer transits house number 8. And house number 8 represents your relationship, money-wise, I would say, with society. So it represents perhaps the banks and all financial organizations that you may want to get in touch with. It represents also investments. It represents real estate. So yeah, Jupiter can really produce a potential to achieve something quite important financially in and during its transit in Cancer in your sign. It is a transit that only occurs once every 12 years. So reflect perhaps on what happened 12 years ago. That may, help you see how much this transit may be offering you, because Jupiter is a very beneficial planet, although because it is forming a discordance, a potential discordance with Saturn and Neptune while it is in Cancer, although it's going to be quite a wide square, as we call it in astrology, still there may be some sort of influence that you should take into consideration to avoid excessive enthusiasm, or if you want to invest money, just be reasonable about it. Think that Saturn can represent, if you fail or if you make a mistake, because you may be too enthusiastic and too opportunistic as well. Saturn may have a very hard sort of reaction, and the consequence of any mistake that you could make could last quite a while. But on the 30th of June, and if you can handle with prudence this transit of Jupiter in Cancer until the 30th of June, then from the 30th of June onwards, Jupiter will form a very nice configuration, which is again a trine with your sign or your ascendant, with Sagittarius in any case. And it will be transiting the 9th sign from your sign. The transit is going to last until the 27th of July 2027. so a bit more than a year, during which it's going to really enhance and increase your potential to succeed, because it's also going to create a trine, which is that same configuration, with Saturn and Neptune in Aries naturally. But it's going to create what we call an opposition with Pluto. So you have to be aware of that, because Pluto represents what you may have to sacrifice. You know, we sacrifice something in order to obtain something else in return. It's like getting a reward. The reward is represented by Jupiter, and the sacrifice is represented by Pluto. So what is it that you may have to accept to lose, to abandon, to leave behind, in order to realize concretely something that is much more pleasant, positive for you, which could lead to success? And because it is transiting the ninth sign from yours, or from Sagittarius anyway, it's linked to the ninth house. And the ninth house represents anything that is official. So there will be something official occurring, and that will be something very positive to boot. And also, it represents your eventual relationship with foreign countries and cultures, traveling and so on, discovering the world, more or less. That's the adventurous side of your sign, actually, that may be quite enhanced, because Jupiter represents Sagittarius. So it's a very important planet for you. And wherever it is transiting around the zodiac, it has a stronger influence on you than on other signs, because it is your planet. So you see, so transiting in Leo, which is actually the sun sign, if you were born under the sign Sagittarius, it means that you have the sun in Sagittarius. And Jupiter transiting in harmony with the sun in the sun's sign Leo will have a lot more and a lot stronger influence. So once again, go back 12 years before. So that's going to happen in 2026, 2027. So 12 years before, that was 2014, 2015. So maybe you can remember what happened then and how you can perhaps deal with the situation that will most probably be a source of success much more than 12 years ago, because 12 years ago Saturn and Neptune weren't in Aries, Pluto was not in Aquarius, and Uranus was not in Gemini. So the overall configurations are very different, but the energy of Jupiter will repeat itself in the same area according to your sign or your ascendant. So it's a very promising 2026 for you, and I hope that you can make the best out of what I've just explained to you. There will not be a transit of Venus in your sign in 2026, unfortunately, because the planet is going to retrograde between Libra and Scorpio and Libra and so on. So it's only from the 7th of January 2027 that Venus will transit your sign. So I will talk about that in the video that I'll make next year for 2027, of course. Thank you very much for your attention and for your interest in my work. I would like to remind you about my books if you're interested in discovering another way of dealing with astrology and using this art, or if you want to offer a book to someone for Christmas, for example, don't hesitate to visit the Amazon website in your country, and you'll find all the books that I've written that are published by Amazon, actually. And also, if you need or wish to have a reading for 2026, visit our website and you'll find information to order such a reading of your choice. And of course, if you want to learn astrology seriously, with a good school like ABLAS, don't hesitate. Once again, visit our website and you'll find the information to to enroll in one of our courses. Thank you very much once again. All the very best. Take care, and my very best wishes for 2026. Bye for now.